You're watching the Chucktown Wind Report, Friday, November the 27th update. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We certainly saw some beautiful weather and some stronger winds on the beach. So let's talk about the winds today into tomorrow. And looking at the surface map, we still are under the influence of this large ridge of high pressure built up and down the eastern seaboard. That's going to continue to bring in a northeasterly fetch through today and into tomorrow. The question is going to be, what is the gradient going to be for the build on the east-northeast leans and the backdoor sea breezing effects? So we have a cold front coming in from the west, and that's going to shift. This portion of the cold front is going to drop down from the north, and it's going to push this high pressure a little bit more centralized over the Carolinas. And what that means for us is a weakening wind field, because the closer you are to the center of high pressure, the weaker the winds become. And we're already seeing it take a dive down in North Carolina. So for today, that pretty much means that our winds are going to kind of slowly weaken. Now yesterday it was further removed to the north. We got a nice gradient built in. And for today, I think we hit about 20 to 22 knots on both beaches. Some of the gusting went up just a little over 30 miles an hour widely to all beaches. But for today, I'm going to keep it a little bit lower and keep it 13 to 17 knots with a possible mid to upper teens stick, where it just sort of hangs in the about 16 to 18 knot zone for a small period of time, and then it sort of drops back down. So after, usually between 11:30 is when the wind comes up, and then it sort of falls off after 2 or 2:30, slowly falls off. So, and then as we get into tomorrow, that high pressure being a little closer, the center of high pressure being closer to us, I think the winds will be even less, maybe even 10 to 14 or 11 to 15 knots at best. So that's kind of what we're looking at for winds. Now the cold front into the future, as we get in later into the weekend, it looks like it's going to fizzle out around this high. This high is pretty strong, and it's going to block it as far as the Appalachian Mountains. It's going to create a blocking ridge along that area, and most of that activity, shower activity, will fizzle out around it. Now we get into Sunday and Monday, timing of this high pressure moving in behind the frontal boundary and breaking it all up should give us a reinforcing shot of northeasterly winds. The question is when it's going to happen. Will it be Sunday afternoon or Monday? I'm betting more on Monday for that. So we may have kind of a quiet weekend coming up. All this moisture is being fed from the warmer Pacific waters, the El Nino. We got Hurricane Sandy down here at 105 miles an hour, Category 2, and that's going to come up into Texas as well and join this boundary and sort of just spread the moisture across the country. That's all because of a subtropical jet, persistent, just relentless subtropical jet that won't give up, coming up from the southwest United States. So that's kind of where our pattern is, and it'll keep creating these high pressures, blocking high pressures along the eastern seaboard. So the next one's going to be from here as it comes down and settles over the mid-Atlantic region. Now looking at GRE for radar, you can see this atmospheric river setup starting to occur, and then we have this drier air over the eastern seaboard, and so that will keep our weather on the pleasant side. Now if we look at some of these little cumuliform batches, these little convective areas that are coming in off the Gulf Stream along these northeasterly winds. Yesterday, some of those did make it ashore. Some of them built along the backdoor sea breeze inland. Not much to them though. They're pretty much just kind of low, flat, black bottom cumuliform clouds, and there's not much on height with them. You'll see them coming in off the ocean from time to time. There may be a little bit of rain involved with it, but I think we're going to stay a little bit on the dry, mostly on the dry side. Now, if we look at datascope from weather flow, our offshore gradient showing 16 knots at the Capers nearshore buoy, 20 knots at the Charleston buoy. And as we zoom into Charleston, it depends on whether or not that gradient is going to be entered into the coastline. I think we definitely have a shot at some of those 16 to 18 knot winds, but we're going to keep it a little bit on the lower side today. We got 10 knots north-northeast in the harbor right now, 6 knots. These are land shadowed locales on the beaches, and Folly Beach is at 8 knots. Look at Folly Beach details. Take a quick look. Model guidance does suggest, I think the HRR3K is the only one that really pops up in the afternoon. The Wave Watch 3 model that's streamlining across the brown line, I think that one's a little bit over exaggerated right now, so I'm not on board with that one. I'm on the board with the lower numbers. If we look at the 7-day stretch in GFS, the modeling doesn't say that the northeast winds will pick back up again until Monday. High tide today is at 8:28 a.m. and low tide is at 2:46 p.m. Sea surface temperatures are 65 to 67 degrees. And that will do it for the Chucktown Wind Report. Thanks for watching.